What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Common Sense Living, the show where we discuss financial and economic trends, business topics, gold and silver, and much, much more. So, today I want to discuss the possibility of a 3 to 4% inflation target instead of the 2% inflation target set right now by the Fed. Now, I started hearing this a little bit last year, and it's looking more and more to me like this potentially could happen. Now, Chair or Fed, Powell has came out and said that it's something that they're not going to consider, but a lot of people inside the Fed are supporting this and are talking about it. So I want to discuss why this might happen and what it means. So first off, normal inflation target 2%, and in the past there's been periods of 4 to 5% inflation. For example, late 80s, early 90s, 70s had it, and then obviously 80s, early 80s, we had very high inflation. Now, it's important to remember that during these periods, we had positive real interest rates, unlike we have now. So the returns on money in accounts like CDs and savings were higher than the rate of inflation. But why might this happen? So first, there's a few reasons. The first is the supply side. So the Fed's interest rate lowering can really only affect the demand side. So we've already seen supply issues happen in 2022 with the war in Ukraine and also with shutdowns in China. And we could continue to see more and more with so much geopolitical tension, supply issues. The second is that we might begin to enter a deep, deep recession later this year. So it's pretty much a consensus right now that we're going to be in a recession later this year. Um, it's just a matter of how deep, how quickly it's going to, or how deep it's going to go. So in this type of scenario, unemployment that could shoot up drastically, layoffs go up drastically, consumer spending might drop suddenly, and the Fed just might cave and say, hey, 3 to 4%, that needs to be the normal, for a few years here. And they may start out saying, well, it's going to be the normal for a few years, and then eventually it just becomes the standard, the normal. Now, again, they might just give up on the fight for a while this happens. And another reason to think about is onshoring, why this 3 to 4% inflation target could happen. So they say that global trade was a big reason that inflation has been low the last 20 to 30 years. And when I say it was the ultra low interest rates and also all the money by the Fed, it just didn't really pick out and just didn't go through the economy. But we can expect onshoring could have some effect. Now, I admit things might become a little more expensive, but I want to emphasize that the quality is going to be better. So imagine buying appliances all made in the US versus appliances made overseas. And again, I think this is something I hope happens. I hope onshoring, bringing jobs back, happens for a lot of reasons, not just financial reasons. Now, the last reason, it's the political aspect, and the Fed just might indirectly be told to stop raising rates later this year. Now, today, Powell did come out in his meeting and he gave the signal that it wasn't going to stop anytime soon. They were going to keep pushing it up, and the market dipped a lot. I think it went down 400 points today or something. But 2024, it's an election year. Incumbents rarely win when there's a bad economy. The pressure might just be coming on too thick from the White House. And it could be coming thick from other members of Congress as well, anyone who's really trying to get, reelected. Now, what does this mean ultimately? So to me, the most obvious problem with 3 to 4% inflation is that it keeps hurting the average Joe and the average Jane. So every year as inflation rises 3 to 4%, we can expect real wages to keep dropping. Now, there seems to be this belief that companies will start giving pay raises around 3 to 4%, annual pay raises 3 to 4% per year. But that's something I don't personally believe is going to happen. People are just going to be, their real wealth, it's just going to be dropping 3 to 4% every year. Now, another effect that's very important is the real returns you get on investments. So if I make a 7% return on an asset and inflation averages 1 to 2%, I'm getting back 5 or 6% in terms of what my real rate of return is. But if there's 3 or 4% inflation, and then say I get that 7%, you're only going to be getting 3 to 4%. So it's definitely something to think about, and um, it may not happen right away, but this could be something as the economy gets worse later this year. It could be something that they entertain, just going ahead and just pivoting and just dropping the rates and just say we're just going to settle with 3 to 4% for a while, and that's going to be that. But let me know your thoughts on this. Curious to see what others think. That's all I got for today. Thanks. Comment, like, subscribe. Appreciate it.